Hello, and welcome to Leadership Trail Mix. I am Miguel Oliveira, and for the next 5 to 10 minutes, we will be together looking at one of the many ingredients that compose this art and science we call people leadership. My goal is that at the end of it, you can have some food for thought and inspiration to be a better version of yourself, not only for your team at work, but for everyone you cross paths with. I'm always excited to share these reflections with you, but the one you will hear about today will for sure hold a special place in my heart for one reason. It was a request. Someone who listened to Leadership Trail Mix took their time to email me to share their feedback about the podcast and asked, "Can you have an episode about delegation?" My answer was, of course, a resounding yes. So, if you didn't know it was a possibility, now you do. If there is a leadership-related topic you would like me to talk about, just send an email to miguel@leadershiptrailmix.com and I'll try my best to accommodate your request. Also, if you don't have a topic in mind, but it still wants to share your thoughts on a specific episode, agree with me, disagree with me, or share how the message resonated with you, please don't hesitate to reach out. I truly can't wait to hear from you. Okay, let's talk delegation. As many things in life, easier said than done, but absolutely necessary. I love words, and something pushed me to look at the origin of the word delegate. It comes from the Latin word legatus, and as a noun in English refers to a person who is chosen or elected to vote or act for others. Up to here, not much surprise, right? What did surprise me in my research was the fact that a cousin word that comes from the same root is legacy. And I couldn't help but smile and say to myself, yes, it makes sense. If we as leaders understand our responsibility in supporting people's growth and development, we can then understand that when we delegate, we are building legacy because we are allowing others to learn, and learning is growing, and growing is developing. That's not to say that there is not work that we should not be doing, but we will talk about that when exploring prioritization, which can be addressed by delegation, but not necessarily. If we look at delegation as a way to allow others to do things they wouldn't otherwise, so that they can grow, we are building legacy. And I hope you, as I do, understand the honor and responsibility of doing so. Is this the only reason why we should delegate? Definitely not. There is a whole business case for delegation, but we only have about 8 minutes left in this episode, so we'll focus on the legacy one. But why is it hard to delegate? The list is long, but I will boil it down to 2 buckets: egocentrism and need of control. Ouch, I know, strong words, but I'm using them very intentionally here, because I know that if you want to be a good leader, these 2 words represent things you don't want to be known or remembered for, right? Also, these 2 things are part of our human nature and allowed us as human beings to evolve and get here. They are part of how we are wired. They protect us as a species. But we need to acknowledge that for most of us, the environment around us is very different from the one our ancestors lived in, and new realities require new approaches. I also want to acknowledge that some of us grew up in environments that required us to focus on ourselves and control as much as we could to survive. And yes, these things shape how we see the world. But similarly to human evolution, at times we need to stop and ask, is the world still out to get me? Sometimes it's not. And operating as if we were in the jungle while actually living in a 5-star resort may be preventing us from experiencing joy and new things. All of that to say, no need for shame or guilt. We are all on a journey. But back to egocentrism and need of control. Let me double-click on each of them with examples of the narrative that I hear over and over again in my interactions with leaders. Starting with egocentrism. Well, no one can do it as well as me. It's going to take me a lot more time to teach someone how to do it than do it myself. Okay, 1. How can you be sure that no one can do it as well as you? And 2, if you invest the time up front to teach someone how to do it, how much time could it save you in the future? Moving to control, Well, doing it myself is the only way to know for sure they will get done the way I want it to be done. Really? Is that how you feel when you go to a restaurant and you are not allowed to go into the kitchen and cook your own meal? This narrative actually combines control, egocentrism, and lack of trust, all in one. Let's be honest, folks. Not everything is delegable. There are many things that for a number of reasons only you can do, and that's okay. Also, sometimes things need to be done within a certain time frame, and delegating it could jeopardize results. We can't deny that. However, two of the things we leaders tend to forget when delegating are, number one, what brought you here may not be necessary to take you forward. Just because a group of tasks were combined in a certain way because of your own capabilities or the capabilities of the person in charge of it up to that point, it doesn't mean that it can't be broken down in a different way, especially if it means supporting someone's development. That one piece of work that you can perform with your eyes closed might be what your team member will get super excited about and will help them grow. Number two, no matter how small, the why matters. Helping people understand why they're doing what they're doing and how it matters is key for meaningful delegation. That's even more important when you are delegating a task and plan to add other tasks to the person's plate over time. But even if it's a one-off ask, explaining the why and helping the person understand what the process will look like and what success looks like will help them be more effective and even help you see things you haven't seen, while leaving a space for the person to potentially make the final product better or even find ways to cut that one task off the process altogether. Our call to action today can't be anything but, what is the one thing you do yourself that you can delegate to someone else this week, either entirely or partially? How can you set the person taking it over up for success? How will that contribute to their growth? And as Scott Cochran told us in the last episode, how can you clearly communicate it and make it meaningful? And don't stop there. Make it part of your routine. Before you start working on something, ask yourself, is there someone who could benefit from watching me doing it today and simply hearing me describe what I'm doing so that next time they can either do it themselves or help me with part of it? You will be surprised by the number of times you realize the answer to the question is yes. Closing our reflection today with a quote from the book Radical Humility by Urs Koenig, which, by the way, is a book I strongly recommend. He says, and here I quote, "It may sound counterintuitive, but the faster things move and the more complex your business challenges are, the more authority and control you need to give up, and the more you need to delegate and empower." That's it for today. Know a leader or an aspiring leader who could benefit from this reflection? Send it their way, please. Thank you for listening. Take care and talk soon.